The Revit 2015 subscription release is a compendium of new features, large and small, that offer gains in capability, productivity, and performance fully compatible with the Revit 2015 version released earlier this year. In this video, I would like to present to you some of the new features dedicated for structural engineers. Until this release of Revit, a rebar definition of most of concrete elements was only possible in their section views, except for floors, when it was also possible using the placement plane feature. When reinforcing concrete elements, you can now place rebar in any 2D view. You can place rebar in plan views, elevation views, and section views using the new placement plane tools. This feature improves the way of rebar definition in any host and gives the user great flexibility to define reinforcement in any 2D view. In the structural elements, it is often critical to specify which end of a beam is considered the start and the end. In Revit, when you place framing elements, their start and orientation is determined by drawing order. The first click is the start, the second click is the end. You need to understand the beginning and the end of framing elements when setting up connections, fixity, and other workflows such as tags. Non-symmetrical elements can show how this orientation is important while modeling. Now, when refining your model, you can flip structural framing elements and maintain joints, as well as setback, geometry, and justification modifications. To adjust this, you can use the Flip Structural Framing End tool. For example, you can select a beam, right-click the element, and then select Flip Structural Framing Ends. This allows structure designers to freely edit the designation while preserving all previous joining decisions. To expedite and improve the modeling workflows, there are some new snaps available for structural elements. You can snap to an imported and non-exploded CAD drawing. Similar to the behaviors when placing structural walls and slabs, all structural elements now snap to the geometry of imported drawings. Snaps such as nearest, endpoint, and midpoints are available when defining structural elements along model lines. Additional snap locations are available along model lines for structural framing elements, structural columns, trusses, and isolated foundations. When you place non-hosted loads, you can now snap to model lines. Also, 3D snapping has been enhanced. These snapping improvements make it easier than ever before to precisely locate structural elements, even with reference to imported DWG files. When changing the alignment reference of beam and geometry in a join, you can now select multiple framing element instances and change their alignment to a common join reference. This feature is a continuation of enhancements delivered for 2015 release and allows setback changes on multiple selected framing elements. For the 2015 release, the user could only change the reference for one selected element. If many beams were adjoining the girder element, the user had to perform this operation multiple times. In order to improve usability, there are changes in the user interface too. Now, only one change reference command is available. Using the change reference command, the user can define an appropriate setback parameter or just reset the reference to the initial position, to the bounding box of element. This improvement helps to speed up the creation of the exact geometry of an element, especially for steel and precast structures. To improve productivity during structural modeling, you can take advantage of the following enhancements. The Offset drop-down button for framing justification tools has been removed. The Y-offset and Z-offset tools now reside directly on the justification panel. The properties for point loads, line loads, and area loads, as well as the analytical properties for structural elements, are reorganized and regrouped in the Properties palette. Tooltips for these properties have been implemented too. This number of UI improvements increases productivity by providing easier access to critical tools and information.